is the FBI going to recommend to the Attorney General's office that she be indicted, charged with a crime, because they're the ones who would have to charge with a crime. But they've been investigating her for the email scandal because, let's face it, it is a violation of federal law. I want to make sure everybody understands, okay? It is a violation of federal law, punishable by 10 years in prison, to have top secret or classified clearance in the United States government and then to mishandle that information in a way that makes it vulnerable to get out where other people can read it that they're not supposed to. All right? I want to make sure everybody's clear on this. If you work for the government and you have top secret or classified information and it's in your briefcase, it's not like, oh, I'm working as a double agent and I'm deliberately giving that information to our political enemies. No, it doesn't work that way. Or even just people that don't have classified clearance. What happens is if you work for the government and you have that information, I've said this before, you go to the bathroom at a restaurant and you leave your briefcase unlocked sitting there in the restaurant, and some employee goes in there and gets some of that top secret information and reads it, you can go to prison for 10 years for that. So that's why it is very, very important. You have responsibilities that come with access to classified information. The Secretary of State of the United States is about as high as you can get when it comes to classified information. That's the reason why government officials with that kind of clearance, while yes, they have private email servers, pretty much everybody does, but they also have government secured email servers that aren't vulnerable to hackers. And so the really sensitive classified stuff you got to use on the government secured server. The stuff that's not that serious you can just use on your private email server because you know that people can hack into that. Hillary Clinton used her private email server for 100% of her work as Secretary of State. 0% in the government server. She didn't set it up. And now, as you folks know, over 2,000 examples of classified email sent or received have been discovered on her server, including some that were the highest top secret category. Hillary Clinton's argument has been, well, it wasn't classified at the time, which is baloney, because you've had counter arguments to that saying, oh, some of it that's true, but much of it that's not true. Folks, if this were anyone else, they would be going to prison. Hillary Clinton is somehow above the law. That's why the FBI is investigating this. It's their responsibility. So what's Hillary Clinton been saying about this? She says, and she just did this again in an interview the other day, when asked about this investigation, FBI investigation, she dismissed it as, no, you know what? It's merely a security inquiry. She said, all the FBI is doing is conducting a security inquiry. That's all. All right, well, guess what, everybody? James Comey, who's the FBI director, was asked specifically about this. Are you conducting a security inquiry on Hillary Clinton? You want to know what he said? He said, quote, I'm not familiar with the term security inquiry. We're conducting an investigation. That's what we do. So here we go. Hillary Clinton saying security inquiry, that's all that's being done. She's Secretary of State of the United States. She was. The director of the FBI says that's a made-up term. Well, I don't even know what that means. It's a made-up term. There's no such thing as a, quote, security inquiry. We're conducting an investigation. I want to know, where's the front page story on this? Fox News ran a story on this. Okay, good for Fox News. How about the rest of the media? All right, well, you know my thoughts on this. By the way, folks, this very same Justice Department, the Department of Justice, that's going to be making the decision on whether they indict Hillary Clinton or not. Do you know that the Washington Free Beacon, which is a conservative news service, and Fox News is running this now also, Hillary Clinton has received just under $75,000 in political contributions from employees at the Department of Justice. That doesn't mean that, they're going to refuse to indict her, but I'm telling you, trust me, they're not going to. But if this were the other way around, if this were a Republican, if this were Donald Trump, who had top secret clearance, and he mishandled information in this way, and the FBI were investigating, and you had a Republican administration and a Republican conservative attorney general, and the Department of Justice and the Attorney General's office, employees there had given over close to $75,000 in donations to Donald Trump and his political campaign, and then turns around and, they're not indicting him? Can you even imagine how that would play in the press? So just do me a favor, okay? Folks, say to your liberal friends and family and coworkers, just tell them, say, look, all I want you to do is just admit it. Just be willing to admit we've got the press actively working to help Hillary. Just to be willing to admit it, that's all. Quit denying it. All right, you're listening to The Bob Duco Show.